So learn, share, repeat. Super simple. The goal of this is talking to a bunch of interesting Kiwis around what are they consuming, what are they learning, what are they liking, and without further ado, welcome to the show. First time ever on radio. Let's kick it up for Lloyd Burr. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. I've never been called a weapon before, but I quite like that.
There we go. Weapon is a good thing. Weapon means you basically get shit done in the best way possible. And I'd like to start off, Lloyd, by saying welcome to you the same way for many months last year you were saying welcome to me when I was jumping on your show for do some quick Q&As and ask Robett. So how does it feel to have the tables turned, mate? You're the one now on the spotlight. I'm about to give you the hard questions.
It's awesome. I mean, you're a natural. And I always knew that it's awesome to have you on board and you've got your own show. It was always meant to happen.
Meant to be. You're like, if you have 3 more whiskeys, it sounds like you're about to work on a sex hotline with that deep rasky Saturday tone. It's like Lloyd Burr.
I mean, maybe I could moonlight doing that.
Call me up.
I mean, I'll probably run out of things to say because I probably need some training. But heck,
all right, Lloyd,
give me a call now.
Give me a call.
What are you wearing, Robett?
Lloyd, I'm wearing Crocs right now. I'm trying to convert everyone from fancy leather shoes that's in business to roll Crocs. Even with socks, potentially, if you need. But we're not talking about Crocs. We're talking about Learn, Share, Repeat. I have a little wristband. On my wristband, it says Learn, Share, Repeat with the goal of always talking to interesting people to find out what they know that I don't. And the goal of this, for the question for you for this week, my friend Lloyd, is what are you currently consuming that is helping you learn the most? And where are you getting it from? What are you learning?
I'm learning lots of stuff. Pretty much every day when I'm on the radio, I'm learning stuff because I'm talking to some of the best Kiwis there are. But in terms of like media and stuff, I'm one of those people who buy books and then don't read them, but then have 4 books that I'm sort of half reading all at once. So I'm jumping between tabs, so to speak, with my books. The one I'm actually reading at the moment is the Barefoot Investor, trying to learn to be good with money because I got halfway through that last year and then didn't finish it. And now I've picked it back up and I'm going through that one. So that's quite good because I want to learn how to be better with money, which is kind of what you taught me a little bit about last year.
What's the tone of it? So Barefoot Investor, is it what's the genesis or the thinking? I've heard of it, but I don't know the concepts. What's the general top line?
It's kind of like, well, we never taught how to be good with money. They don't teach it at school. They don't teach it at primary school, high school, whatever. We just kind of get a job and get paid and live day to day. This teaches you how to properly save for your retirement, put money away each week, be very disciplined with your spending, don't spend it on stuff you don't need, that kind of stuff. And I guess it puts in place all of the structures in your financial life. And once you've got them in place, it sort of looks after itself. So that's kind of what it's doing. And I'm not talking like massive investments and playing on the share market and whatnot. It's just having your bank account structure, setting up automatic payments between them. So you've got like a splurge account that you can use, and there's all these different settings, but it's quite good. And even if you don't implement them all at once, you can still teach you how to be good with money. Because I wish they taught us that at school.
Everyone says that same thing. I mean, myself, I failed high school and, couldn't get into university, was not book smart, was obviously street smart. What do you think's holding back? Maybe I'll ask this, Lloyd. What percentage of Kiwis do you think don't really know what's up when it comes to money? What percent?
Probably 80.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's over 50.
Oh,
right?
well.
It's over 50.
It's definitely over 50. And I was never going to do anything about it. And then I got this recommended to me. And I thought, I'm not that bad with money. And then you read this, you're like, I could be doing this so much better than what I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think there should be a different system other than teach yourself.
Yeah. I've been thinking of this idea around real world university where you do micro short courses of just practical and tactical real life shit, which you may not know about, to sort of batch micro learn things. Like the way I kind of will learn from people is I'll try and get close access and I try and just data dump as much info as I can off them in the shortest amount of time, document it all down, and then I can go back and pick out the sort of main points. Because when you don't have too much time with it, they kind of give it chunky little, not like tweet size bits of nuggets. But I had one happen only a couple weeks ago with this multi-millionaire dude over here in the States, and he owns like 20 houses and companies and all sorts of bits and pieces. And I asked him, how do you structure the ownership for all these different properties? And he was like, I put the S-Corp here and blah, 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 blah. And he just sort of basically talked through in about a 30-second soundbite 10 years, 20 years of real estate advice in one little hook. And I think it'd be so good if we can get more access like that to help others with it, which is super cool for you. And so how far away are you through the book now? Like, is it going well? Like, what else are you consuming right now outside of that? Any other podcasts, any other bits and pieces?
When you talk about property there, learning how he does his ownership structure, that's another thing I think we need to learn. So I remember when I went to the bank and got a mortgage and bought this tiny shoebox that I'm in at the moment, they were like, do you want to have it in a trust? Do you want to have it in this? And I was like, what does this mean? So I'm glad that you mined his brain, because I think that's another thing that we all need to learn. Another thing that I'm consuming at the moment in my walk to work is, and you're probably quite familiar with this given your closeness to Silicon Valley, but it's a podcast called The Dropout. It's about Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, which is just fascinating.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. For those that are unaware, basically one of the biggest scams in investment history, with billions of dollars in valuation and a bit of a mastermind behind it that did not go down so well with, is it Theranos, right? No, was it Theranos? What was the? Yeah, Theranos. Yep, Theranos.
Yep, therapy and diagnosis. Yeah, so she merged them together. But I think also it's an ancient Greek term which funnily means something like some kind of monster or so it's weird that she named it that. But this podcast is great because it takes you through the story of Theranos, and now it's gone through the courts as well. So it's taking you through each week in the courts, and I find it fascinating, mainly because of what it has meant since it all erupted for women in Silicon Valley who are trying to go and get money out of venture capitalists and stuff to fund their startup ideas, which are well researched, well reasoned. Hers just, she came up with it and it never ever worked, and it never was going to work. So I think the flow-on effects from what she's done is ruined a whole lot, especially young women who are trying to convince VCs to give them money.
Yeah, there is an incredible, fascinating story with Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. So that was called the Drop Off podcast. You listened to it, and then also the book,
the Dropout. The Dropout.
Yeah,
Dropout. She dropped out of Stanford after, I think it was just one semester or something like that. Yeah.
Crazy times. Well, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your week, my friend. Appreciate you coming on. It's cool to have the roles reversed for a second. I'm asking you questions, and I'm learning a bunch more today. It was cool. So now I've got two more things I can add into the pile of my read and watch list. I appreciate it.
Mate, no worries. You're so good at this, and I'm love listening to your show. You're an absolute natural, and have a cracker rest of the show. I'm off to the beer spot.
Let's go. Funny you say. I was about to ask you about the beer garden, the beer mission. We're going to do some type of collab, something. I'm going to talk to you about it on a side little note when TT's not sneaking in and watching. I had a note there to ask you about the beer thing. But enjoy the rest of the day, mate. Appreciate your time.
See you later, mate. See ya.
My man. All right.